Hi. I hope you enjoyed that. That was fun. Thank you. And I know they're putting the stuff up. I'm so glad that my favorite business coach has decided to stay and share with us.
Probably means your only business coach, right?
My favorite. Yeah, you're my only business coach. That's very true.
Yeah.
You ruined my segue. Okay. That's okay because you usually
being humble like I am.
Well,
yes.
you usually start at the beginning of the show with me, and we kind of banter back and forth and talk about what's going to be on the show. So
That's
I kind of missed
ho
you.
ho today.
Yeah,
right?
ho today.
2 weeks and withdrawal here.
Yeah, and I went back into show mode. I said I wanted this to be a party because this is the
rock
Christmas
and roll.
show. Right. And Rodger Blaker's been on the show now for a couple of months. He's been at, what's 2, 3?
It's been a long time.
Is that a hint? Anyway, he agreed to come on today and talk to us about the about Christmas and emotions. You know, he's been doing a series. He is a business coach, but he's also a personal life coach, and he talks about balance and family. And he was very much listening to what we talked to WT about, and also about emotions around the Christmas time. And he's going to be sharing with us today some experiences that he had as a wee lad. Is that correct?
Right on. Yeah.
Yes, but it's and so
when I was actually a younger kid than the kid I am today. Exactly.
You know what? You are young at heart.
Yeah. It's because, I mean, when I talk about what I'm going to talk about, it brings back these memories, and I feel like a 6-year-old again. So, and a lot of people say I still act that way, so it aligns.
Okay. Hey, Jimmy, are you going to put the little snow in the background so we got it? Yeah, please. I mean, we got the green screen in the back, but what I'm trying to do is have a little snow coming.
Oh, sets the mood.
See, here we go. Wait a minute. Do you like, we could have the... we got the set over here. We did this, and so that for other days. But since it is Christmassy, I'm kind of going. He's going to light that up. So, give him a minute. So you've been thinking about the memories of Christmas. What are you going to be doing this year? Are your parents still alive?
My mom is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a story about her more than my dad, but also my lady friend that I've been dating for some months now.
Yes, you mentioned her now and then.
Yeah, her mom and her stepdad came into town. I met them for the first time last night, and we all went out to eat. So it's going to be hanging around them. And then I've got a brother and sister both live here. Matter of fact, my mom lives here in a facility.
Her mom and her stepdad. Now, is she much younger than you? Or is she?
A little bit.
Okay. Or is he? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if she's around your age, her mother has got. Oh, she's okay.
Yeah, I mean that's so they're not ancient, but
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, my mom has got dementia, and so some of the things I'm talking about, obviously, she wouldn't remember any longer because of that. But stories I'm going to talk about. Actually, she lives here. She's in Carrollton, a facility, and she's like 5-minute walking distance from a brother and sister that I have both live in Carrollton.
That's good.
They live like 2 blocks from each other.
Okay.
And my mom lives right down the end of the street of them in the facility.
But this is your girlfriend's family.
But this is my girlfriend's family. Came in town from Waco, is where they live. So yeah, we visited last night. I got to meet them for the first time.
Oh, okay. And so, did they give you the once over? What are your intentions toward our lovely daughter?
I gave them the once over. What are you talking about? This is her father passed away some years ago, and her mom remarried, and that man passed away, and this is her third husband, and they're still on their honeymoon. So go figure.
Oh.
Yeah. We had to make sure make sure they kept their hands off each other while they were still on their honeymoon.
Well, isn't that sweet?
Yeah, they're really a very nice couple.
You're very
much.
lucky if you can find. I mean,
yeah.
You're lucky to find one.
She's done it 3 times because her second one is very much. They were very much in love, and he actually within a couple of years passed away. And then this last, I think, summer. Maybe, I don't know if I don't think it's been a year she's been married to this man here and very much in love. So really cool to see, really cool experience. So,
that is nice.
Yeah, a lot of fun with that last night. So much about the early childhood story, huh? Oh, we got the snow in the background?
Yeah. Can you see it? No, you can see it over there on that monitor over there.
Oh, there you go. That's a picture of me. Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
What I thought about it, I've shared this with a number of people, and I think it's really cool. There's a story behind the story. So I'll start as my memories, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why it even means more to me. But growing up as a young kid, and we moved from Phoenix to Oklahoma, and so most of these memories I have are the Oklahoma time. And Christmas was a big deal to my mother. which obviously as kids, I mean, most of us probably can relate to how exciting it is. I mean, how many people watch, is it The Christmas Story? Is that the TV show they always show? But we had a tradition. We did things in a routine, and it was always exciting. I feel like the Tiny Tim story, when the father comes home and the kids are all jumping up and down and screaming, you see those in the show too. And so Mom's deal was it would go and pull everything out for the Christmas tree, all the ornaments and everything was always put away a certain way. And so we'd start by getting a fresh tree. So you have the fragrance of the tree in the house. If you've never had anything but artificial trees, you don't know what you've missed by not having that fragrance or pine in your house. But we'd pull everything out and would lay it all out. Would have all the little Christmas bulbs in boxes. The Christmas lights, Mother would go through them all. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this or not, but if you have one that's kind of out, you kind of flick it with your finger to see if it'll come on. Mm-hmm. And she would go through all of that. And it would start.
Yeah, you missed one. We did that the other night trying to lay some lights. It was like,
there you go.
One is gone, and then you're spending that whole time looking for them.
She'd always flick them to make sure they're really gone or not. Would have to put fresh ones in. So just pulling the stuff out and laying it out on the floor and everything was an adventure, because it was all of that stuff that mattered. And it was one of those times to really be close to her, because Mother would get more excited about this than we would.
Okay.
And like I said, there's a story behind the story that I begin to understand later in life, because she wrote an autobiography, and I'll share some of that with you in a minute. But we'd lay all the stuff out, and then we'd go through the process of putting the lights on, and then you put the bulbs on. And
did y'all do icicles?
Well, let me kind of tell you. Some of the things that mattered. This is the way it's got to be. You put the lights on, and then put the garland around the tree, and it was this kind of little small, kind of metallic-looking stuff. So it wasn't the big fat ones. It was real kind of narrow, and we had these things forever. So you'd wrap that around the tree. Then you would hang the ornaments. And one of the rules in our house was that you couldn't have an ornament that was on leaning up a branch. The ornament had to hang free. If it didn't hang free, it wasn't right.
Okay.
That's my mom's rule, so we learned that. Interesting enough, when I was at my girlfriend's house the other night and saw her tree for the first time, there's a couple of these ornaments kind of laying up against a limb, hanging and leaning against a limb. I told her, that doesn't work, so I had to rearrange those, and I told her the story. She thought that was hilarious, because even her tree, I can't stand to see an ornament leaning up against a branch. It's got to hang free. So we did all of that stuff, and then we did the icicle, the little aluminum icicles you used to get. I don't know if you even have those anymore. I haven't seen them in a while. And we'd hang that over the garland. It couldn't hang on the tree. It had to be hung over the garland. You had to do them one at a time. You couldn't lay a bunch of them on there, because they had to be all neat. And this is Mother's constant vigilance of us decorating that tree. So it had to be done a certain way. But it was so cool, because that was time with her, because the whole time we were doing this, she was giggling and laughing and looking at all the stuff. And it was just, that was part of the decoration.
And you had the same box, same decorations
every
year.
And yeah, we had a white, that little kind of white cloth put under the bottom of the tree, and we had a Santa Claus and a little sleigh.
Of course, y'all had real trees.
And then we had the little miniature trees and a Santa Claus and this little house that had a light in it and all that got set up and everything.
I can just see you turn into a little kid when you're talking about it.
And then we had the little snowflake stencils, and you had the spray stove. We'd put those up on our big picture window and spray those on there. So you had all that decoration on the picture window that was looking out the front yard. And we lived in the country. We lived in a big old house, so we didn't have the backyard where you had the privacy. Everything you looked at was from the front. You saw the picture window and the Christmas tree, so it came from the front. And we lived on a road next to a ranch, so there wasn't a lot of traffic because there wasn't a through road. But anyway, people would come by and they'd be able to see our tree. And then the special treat was that Mother would make this sugar cookie dough from scratch, and she had a gingerbread cutout, metal cutout, and she would cut the little gingerbreads out and bake them. But then what she would do, she'd take the confectionate sugar icing, make icing with that, and she'd make red color and brown color. And so we'd put the boots and gloves and the red coat and everything and make a Santa Claus, a little hat on it. And all of us kids would decorate that icing on those cookies to make it look like Santa Claus. And then, of course, eat those things all Christmas long. Kind of like these cookies over here, they're decorated, only ours was like a gingerbread cutout.
There's some good cookies. Some people brought some good cookies. Thank you, Pete.
And so we'd make those. So, and interesting enough, in the 80s, my brother and I started talking about it one time. We called Mom and got the recipe, and we actually did that again one time, just because we both thought it was so cool. So that was our history of this, and then we started putting presents under the tree. Since there was 4 kids and mom and dad, there were a lot of presents. So mother would start shaking them and everything, and she didn't know what they were, and just laugh and giggle, and just really look at these presents. I mean, just really excited about this. Well, interesting enough, about 15 years ago or so, my mother wrote just a very brief autobiography about her young life, and I really think that so much was tied to what she didn't have as a child. Long story short, her dad left to go find a job when she was very young. She was the last of 7 kids. He didn't come home. And so they didn't have a father. And during the Depression, they almost starved to death. I mean, literally, it was a very dark time. My mom never, in her biography, didn't write anything about that. She just wrote that she never had a Christmas or birthday until she was a teenager. And so I began to realize the reason why this was such a big deal to her was because she was getting to live her childhood through us because she didn't have that.
Oh.
And that's the real cool part of the story.
That is.
Yeah, and the thing about her autobiography, it wasn't where she was feeling sorry for herself. She wasn't complaining. She was just stating just information because she would talk about all these fun things they did. But I just realized that even though she didn't, well, that's what made it special. It wasn't a thing where she was speaking anything bitter about anybody or poor me. She was just telling a story, but I made the connection between what she didn't have and what she was giving us as kids at that time in our life.
Yeah.
It just made it extra special. It kind of goes back to what was being talked about earlier about forgiveness, about not carrying grudges, finding a way to find joy and give other people joy. And when I think of my mom, I mean, any of us could look at that and say we would have reason to be bitter, we'd have reason to carry anger or resentments, and she didn't feel that way about it. She passed on to us what she may have missed in her childhood. And when I really look at that, it really reminds me of that is the spirit of the season.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
And that's, and of course, are you now passing that, did you pass that on to your children?
Yeah, I went out to Memphis and visited my daughter.
I bet you have some of those decorations too.
I don't know if she does or not, but going out to Memphis and visiting my daughter, and I have 2 grandsons. My daughter's 32, and her husband, and my 2 grandsons, and spending time with them out there and just hanging out and going shopping. My daughter and I went out and shopped for all the kids because I told her I'd wait till I got out there to buy the presents. And just hanging out with my daughter and doing that, just she and I.
Well, they say it's about the kids, and I've heard that as I've gotten older. And then now that I look at it, I know that I have lots of people around, and I like to give presents out, but really it's the children that they're the funnest to work with at Christmas and do things for, and that's where my little nieces and nephews, I try to make sure that is part of it. But my mother not being around and having Alzheimer's, don't you miss? I mean, your mother loved Christmas, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a time that she really showed the playfulness
But
in
you
her.
always have those memories.
And that's my point. Is
Yeah.
I mean, I know that not everybody can relate to stories like that because some people are like my mom. They didn't have the opportunity maybe as a child or whatever where it was a dark time in their life.
Well, my mother was born during the Depression, and her father was an alcoholic, and he would get infamously drunk on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And so this was something that was hard. I mean, you imagine in the 30s and the families, and you're dealing with that, and they didn't invite people over. So whenever Christmas was, she just really dolled it up. I hadn't made that connection before, but I bet you
Maybe the
experienced
same
something
thing.
similar because she was such an elf. And
I say that's my mom, and I mean the only thing she related to at all about it, she said one Christmas that they lived in this little shack behind this house. I mean, because it was by then I think her 2 older brothers had moved on because they were much older, and it was her 2 older sisters, her and her mom. And there was this little tap on the door, and when they answered the door, there was a basket of fruit on the front porch, and somebody had delivered that to them. And